Hi, first graders. I'm back to show you the next steps for leaving thinking tracks while we are reading. Remember, thinking tracks are evidence of the kinds of thoughts or ideas you have while you're reading a text. Last time we were focusing on new learning, and this time we're going to be really paying attention to the kinds of ideas or thoughts that are questions or wonderings. This is a really common kind of thought to have while you are reading. It might start with, I wonder, or use a question word like who, what, where, when, or why. We're going to use the symbol of a question mark to show this kind of thinking while we are reading. So I'm going to read the same book that I read last time, and it might be interesting to see how my thinking is a little bit different the second time because I'm going to be focusing on wonderings or questions that come up when I read rather than new information. So I left a couple of thinking tracks in here already, and I'll show you what it looks like when I leave new ones. Remember this page? What are flamingos? Flamingos are tall birds with long necks and legs. They live in warm wetlands. I found myself having a wondering about the word wetlands. In my mind, I know that word to mean swamps and bogs, and I just had the question of like, am I right? So I wrote that down because I want to double check this information to make sure that it's true. You'll notice that this time I added in a page number because this is on page 4. That will just help me when I'm looking back in my research notebook to see where I had this question pop up. Flamingos live in large groups called colonies. They wade together in water. Here I have an example of how some of my new learning from this picture, I noticed that most of the flamingos were standing on 2 legs instead of 1. And I noticed that didn't quite match my observations when I was younger, and saw that most of the flamingos at the zoo near where I lived tended to stand on 1 leg. So I asked a question when I looked back at this, why would a flamingo stand on 1 leg? I really want to see if I can find some information about that. And I found this thought popping up on page 7, so that's why I wrote page 7. They also fly in groups. Flamingos stretch out their necks and legs to fly. That seems a bit unusual to me. It seems like most birds tuck their legs in to fly. So I'm having a question about this. I'm going to put a question mark to show what kind of thought I'm having. This is on page 8. And I'm going to ask, why is it helpful to stretch out their legs when flying? Why do they do that? That would have been a simpler way to write my question. I'm going to leave that thinking track right there. And let's see if one more might pop up. Food. Flamingos eat algae and shellfish. This food gives them their pink color. So I had learned last time that eating algae and shellfish made them pink. And as I look at this picture, I'm coming up with some wonderings. Algae looks like they would make them green. So I'm kind of wondering, what kind of shellfish exactly do they eat? And I want to find out more about the pink color. So I'm wondering what this is as well. I'm guessing this must be what's making them pink, but I don't really recognize it. It looks more like feathers in the water to me. So this kind of thought is a question or a wondering. I'm going to write, I wonder what that is and I think I need to draw a picture of this. It's on page 11. So I'm going to write page 11. I'm going to draw a little picture of this because if I look back in my research notebook later and just see the word that, I am not going to know what I was talking about. So remember, thinking tracks give us lots of clues about what we are wondering. I'm going to write another question. Is that shellfish or feathers? I'm also wondering, why aren't they green if they eat green algae? So I kind of want to know the science behind this, the science behind their color. Why aren't they green? So I've already had lots of question thinking tracks coming up. I want to just show you how to set up your researcher's notebook so that you are ready to leave thinking tracks. So like always, start by writing the date. I'm going to just write it right up here. Today is 4/16/20. I'm leaving thinking tracks. The book that I'm reading is called Animal Safari Flamingos. You're going to write the book that you are reading. And I'm going to just go ahead and put these in here. You can put yours in as you read, because you don't even need to use sticky notes. You can just go ahead and write it right on the lines in your researcher's notebook. So, and then finally, I will leave a video on Flipgrid to read to my research group what questions or wonderings came up while I was reading this book. Good luck, researchers.